We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Thursday, July 3rd here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Julian.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. And Julian Kim is also with us.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's Thursday, which means we're going to begin with our keyword news, where we look at a story that has been gaining traction over the past 24 hours. And today's keyword is love bug. So South Korea is being swarmed by love bugs, but instead of love, they're spreading discomfort. Love bugs, also called double-headed bugs or honeymoon flies, are small black insects that tend to fly in pairs while mating. First spotted in 2015, their population began to rise in 2022 and has continued to grow since then. The love bugs are especially active during late June and early July each year. While they do not pose any harm to humans, they have caused significant inconvenience, swarming around residential neighborhoods and clinging to vehicles and people. So Julian, what kinds of bugs typically freak you out? Do you have any tips for handling these pesky pets?
Well, long story short, any bug will freak me out. I am not a fan of bugs and I don't like them. If I see them, I freak out and I just do whatever I can to avoid them. So to answer your question, no, I don't have any personal tips for handling bugs. I'm probably the worst person you can ask. But I would say to avoid having bugs in your place, just keep your place clean because that will reduce the likelihood of having bugs in your house.
Honestly, I'm the same because I also have a phobia of bugs, and it's so bad that I used to skip the insect chapters in biology. I don't know if you guys can relate to this. So, Julian, what about you?
I have a phobia too, but not that much. I dislike bugs. I am not a fan of any kind of bug in this world, in this earth. Well, when I was in the UK, I saw them, spiders quite often, and once I saw one of the size of my face, I'm not joking, in the dining room, freaked out. And since then, every tiny spiders make me panic. I keep windows closed most of the times in my house and open them only for the ventilation for a while and then clean the screens often and use mosquito repellents at home. And for my kids and for myself, I use those mosquito stickers, sprays, and even mosquito repellent bracelets. That's quite useful indeed when we go out. And that's why I try to keep the bugs away from my life.
I honestly always have like a huge stack of those mosquito repellent stickers, so I can't imagine going up through the summer without them. So that's also a good tip. So bugs, whether tiny ants or swarming love bugs, are an unavoidable part of life that can sometimes cause real discomfort. But sharing tips and tricks for handling these pests will hopefully not only help us feel more prepared, but also turn a common nuisance into a manageable challenge. So that concludes our keyword news for this Thursday. And as we head into the final stretch of the work week, we're diving into a global craze, a trend that's adding fun and personality to everyday life and showing up everywhere you look. So let's take a look at the screen to learn more. Toys are always a popular gift, but these days they're not just for kids. Adults are just as into them, fueling the growing kidult trend. One standout in this trend is the mischievous-looking elf-like character you've probably seen all over social media, Labubu. With celebrities also showing them off on their bags, these little toys, along with other collectible accessories, have become quite fashionable, but also very pricey. As we just saw in the video, we're diving into the kidult trend, which is all about collectible toys and keychains. I'm sure many of you have come across videos or pictures of Labubus, those small, mischievous-looking creatures with sharp teeth and tall, pointed ears, showing how popular this trend really has become. So Julian, do you collect toys like these either for yourself, or I know you're a mom, so for your kids?
Yes, yes, and yes. Well, I do have myself for myself and for the kids as well. Well, you know, kidults are all the rage these days, as you mentioned. Yes, I do have some. I love cute things. So if I find some adorable key rings, I often buy it for myself and for my child. So on a business trip to Japan, I picked a limited edition of the Pokemon one, this key ring. It was quite expensive and he loves these key rings. I have maybe thousands of these key rings in my house. I couldn't bring all of them. And as for me, I've kept some key rings from my childhood, like Beauty and the Beast and some Mary Poppins ones. I got them at Disneyland in Paris and I still treasure them. And to this day, I still listen to those Disney soundtracks, The Beauty and the Beast, in the morning, and even play the Aladdin soundtrack for my son before he actually saw the movie. So, you know, there's something special about those sharing those characters back in the days that we enjoyed. I loved as a child. And it turns out that these tiny items hold such big memories in your life.
So I was actually never a real keychain collector, and I don't know if it's because like they're all the rage these days, but I've also been gifted a keychain, and it's from the Beagle, and I realize it does bring a sense of nostalgia, not for just myself, but for people around me. I realize it's also a conversation starter. People ask me about it, so that's also a perk, I guess. So Julian, what about you?
Well, just like Julian has mentioned, I do have some Disney merchandise too. I have the peas in a pod from Toy Story 3, as well as some pins from Disney Pixar's Coco, as well as Phineas and Ferb too. Now, they have a lot of meaning to me because these are shows and movies that I really enjoyed as a kid. But that's pretty much it. I don't really actively collect a lot of these toys. I don't own any Labubus or any other collectibles. 2 of them are actually just gifts to me, and the other one I just ended up buying at a Disney store in high school. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Right, so what are some of the more popular collectible toys these days? We've just talked about Labubus, so they definitely seem to be like pretty much everywhere right now. So can you tell us more about Labubus first?
Of course, of course. Well, one of the hottest toys right now is Labubu. Have you seen in the video from Hong Kong? It's inspired by mythical forecast creatures from Northern Europe. And these dolls are sold in blind boxes, so you can't actually know what is inside. This mystery adds to collectors' excitement. In a recent report, JP Morgan described Labubu as the next Hello Kitty. So unboxing videos have become a trend, and celebrities like Rose, Lisa, and even Rihanna have been spotted with Labubu dolls hanging on their expensive designer bags, which has drawn even more attention. Then how much is it? Some rare models have been sold for as much as $652 on resale platforms, and there are even some people taking out insurance policies for their rare Labubu dolls. According to Passport Card, a travel insurer in Australia, 1 in 3 NZ consumers has considered insuring their dolls when traveling abroad, and some actually went through it. You would get quite heartbroken, you know, if you lost your doll while traveling. And there was a large exhibition, Labubu once sold at auction for over $150,000. Let me explain. It wasn't just any doll. It was a one-off edition with blue bunny eyes and sharp teeth. It's not just playtime, it's prime time now.
When you first said they were getting these Labubus insured, I thought it was a bit excessive. But then you mentioned there were 6 figures. So
yes.
like, that's actually quite understandable.
Indeed, indeed.
Like I too would need therapy if I lost one of these 6-figure Labubus
Yes.
as well. So what other toys are popular these days, Julian?
Yeah, well, in English-speaking countries, apparently Jellycat has been extremely popular for years now, which is surprising to me because as someone that grew up in America, I had no idea what Jellycat was until yesterday. But Jellycat was originally known for baby comfort toys, but recently they've been releasing products that have been targeting towards the kidult market. And they have become so popular that they now require online reservations just to enter their store. Now, Jellycat makes plushies in the shape of animals, fruits, desserts, and even more, but their best sellers are key rings that are just slightly larger than an adult's palm, especially the fruit-shaped ones. Some limited editions have been sold on auction sites like eBay for as much as $1,200 US. So I would say it is safe to assume it's not just babies that like really enjoy their products.
So I'm actually sort of familiar with Jellycats, as familiar as someone could be without actually owning them. So my friend and I actually stumbled upon some pictures of them, and we're like, these are so cute. And it turns out my friend was from the UK, so these Jellycats are actually from the UK. So she actually gifted them to her mom who lives in the UK, and her mom also really was really happy about them. So I guess it just transcends these, you know, these dolls or collectible toys really transcends generations as well. So obviously, hearing this, you can tell this market is quite profitable. So, Julian, can you tell us how much this market has exactly?
Well, talking about numbers, well, NZ's consumers are now at the heart of the toy industry. In 2023, for the first time, people in their 20s and 30s overtook preschoolers as the largest group driving toy sales. The kidult market in Korea has seen rapid growth from $370 million in 2014 to $1.17 billion in 2020, and it's expected to reach $8.07 billion in the coming years. And these days, you'll find claw machines and capsule toy shops everywhere on streets, and even cosmetic and clothing lines featuring animated characters often sell out in no time. For example, the Face Shop, the cosmetic company, they released a Cacao Friends edition, and Adidas teamed up with the Simpsons. It's almost time to stop calling this a trend. It's a part of our everyday life now. Playtime isn't over, it's upgraded for adults.
So Julian, then what's the market like outside of Korea?
Well, outside of Korea, it is safe to say that it's not just Koreans that really enjoy these products. The Economist recently reported on the global plush toy craze, and the global plush toy market, which is $12 billion in 2023, is projected to actually grow 8% annually until 2030. Now, investment guru Warren Buffett picked up on this trend early and actually acquired the parent company of Squishmallow, a US plush toy market, in 2022. So it does really make a lot of sense to me. I actually remember when I lived in America, a lot of my friends were really into Squishmallows, and even though I've never bought one, I've been tempted many, many times to buy it. But yeah, Buffett calls plush toys gemstones that make money. We can see why he said that today. Today, Kindle consumer accounts for over 25% of plush toy sales.
So this is clearly a very lucrative market. So to dive deeper into this rising craze for Kindle collectibles like Labubus, we're going to talk with someone from the US who has built quite an impressive collection. And that's coming on right after the break, so stay tuned.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Dominic Berger, who has built a very impressive collection of kidult toys. So hi, Dominic, and thanks for connecting with us today. I know you're currently in Milan for a wedding.
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me.
So what kinds of collectible accessories or toys do you like? How much do you usually spend on them?
So I started by being really interested in Sanrio because I've loved them since I was a small child. And gradually that grew, and I'd latch on to certain brands like Tokidoki, which I was interested in as a middle schooler, and then gradually branching out into more characters that kind of I thought were cute. And I was like, oh, let me get one of these too. I typically spend anywhere from maybe $8 as like a little treat, similar to how like a coffee might be. And then even up to, I'm a little embarrassed to say, I did once spend $50 on one from StockX on the resale market, but I try to live at that.
$50, well, quite a lot. Well, Dominic, what got you interested in the kidult trend like Labubu and similar character goods?
So it kind of brought like a little bit of joy, just something nice to look at as I'm going throughout my day. Like, oh wow, look how my bag looks so cute with this little accessory on it. Or wow, my shelf looks a bit more comfortable because I have this little guy sitting on a book, or just kind of silly looking. And it just really goes back to just how it made me feel when I looked at them.
Great to hear that you clearly love collecting these collectible toys. So my question is, which collectible toys do you want to see released or become more popular?
So there's only one that's been on my mind lately, and to be honest, it has kind of been released already, but they've been bringing in more SpongeBob toys that are really true to how the show looks. I feel like I've seen some that might be a little different from how the show looks, but more recent ones, I don't know, SpongeBob's really nostalgic to me, so I'd love to see more than that.
Before I let you go, we saw that clip I think you filmed of like your collection, and I have to ask, which one would you say is your favorite out of all of them?
Oh, that's a really challenging question. I I mean, right now, my Labubus, I do love them, but I also really like my crybabies, which are also from Pop Mart. Some people have told me they look a little crazy looking, but that's okay.
Thank you so much for sharing your insight with us, and all the way from Milan too. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So we just heard from someone who's an avid collector of these toys, and building on what we've been talking about, let's dive into the background a bit. So why do you think the Kittle trend has taken off the way it has, Julian?
I think it's all because, or thanks to, nostalgia. You know, I was speaking with Dominic, I can remember my Barbie dolls back in the days. Well, the longing to reconnect with toys from childhood is a major driver of the kidult market. Characters like Crayon Shin-chan, Sailor Moon, and Pokemon, hugely popular in the 18s and 90s, are still in demand today. And many MZ consumers now have the spending power. They have money to buy the toys their parents couldn't afford back then, even if it means paying a premium. So finally buying what mom said no to.
I think it also means a lot because it's kind of you're getting that finally overdue yes after all those no's. So what are your thoughts on this, Julian?
Well, our generation really do tend to enjoy collecting as a hobby, which really does match with the Kittle culture. We collect figures and merchandise from our favorite characters from studios like Disney, Marvel, or DC, as well as forming and building up fandom communities too. Now, limited editions are especially very popular amongst our generation. Social media has played a huge role in spreading Kittle culture. Figure unboxings and review videos are extremely popular and gets lots of views on social media platforms too.
So we're going to get a broader sense of this. So we turn to our viewers on the Arirang News YouTube channel to get their take on the Kittle trend. So we asked our viewers how much they're willing to spend on buying toys, and here are the answers we got. 41% said they would spend up to $50 US, about 24% were comfortable spending up to $10, while 20% they would spend as much as $100. And interestingly, 15% of the respondents said they would spend over $300 on toys. So before we finish up, Julian, can you share your thoughts on the best way to fully enjoy the Kittle trend and how to make the most of it?
So in order to enjoy this Kittle trend, you've got to be healthy. You have to enjoy this in a healthy way. We should move away from the overpriced resale trend. It's not good for children. It's not good for the education. It's not about how rare or expensive your item is. What matters is the joy it brings to your life. And don't compare your collection with others. Enjoy it at your own pace, in your own style. And after all, it's not just about collecting those items, collecting those toys. It's about reconnecting with childhood and learning to value simple happiness through those toys. And don't be that way. Just let yourself have fun with those and collect memories, not just toys.
They've gotten really expensive, which is why I feel like your advice is really good to remember this is all about just having fun and bringing more joy into your lives. So Julian, what about you? Do you have any advice for us?
Well, it doesn't really feel right to tell anyone how to enjoy their hobby, especially someone that doesn't even really actively participate in this trend. So all I can really say is just do this for yourself and enjoy it. If it brings joy to your life, then, well, I'm very happy to hear that.
So while some of these collectibles can come with a hefty price tag, many fans say the joy, the nostalgia, and the sense of connection, and even feeling a bit cool by being part of the Kittle trend make it well worth it. And for many, it's not just about owning the item, it's about the experience and joy that come with it. So this brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Big thanks to Julian.
Thank you for having me.
For coming in, and Julian.
Thank you for also having me today.
And to our viewers, thanks for watching, and we hope you have the best day. We are News Generation.